Hi, Tim. This is my friend Tim Noonan, and he had the COVID 19 virus. Tim, we're going to start about letting people know a little bit about who you are. So, can you tell us about yourself and what brought you to Park City?
Well, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally, and I'm in healthcare IT and did a project here for Intermountain Healthcare and loved it so much that I ended up moving here about 4.5 years ago. I just really enjoyed all the activities and all the available lifestyle choices you can have here in Utah. So I moved to Park City approximately 4.5 years ago.
And then tell us about what happened when you got COVID 19.
Well, the last week of March, I started experiencing a fever and went to Park City Instant Care. Had a low-grade fever for about 3 or 4 days, but then on March 30th, I experienced a very high spike in my fever. I was also going into a respiratory failure, so my oxygen saturation dropped from the usual 98% to very, very low. I then presented to the Park City Emergency Department at Park City Hospital, Intermountain Hospital, and they triaged me very quickly. They knew I was COVID positive. They found out I was going into a respiratory distress syndrome, and I was experiencing ARDS at that point. So they sedated me and intubated me with a ventilator tube down my throat, and then life flighted me on the helicopter to Intermountain Medical Center in Murray on March 30th. I remember hitting the tarmac and being wheeled in, and then the next 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks as a blank, I was pretty much in a medically induced coma for 3.5 to 4 weeks, all of the month of April pretty much, and was restrained. I had ARDS, COVID, pneumonia, kidney failure, and some blood clots that they were concerned about that would potentially be a stroke. So at the end of April, early May, I came out of the coma and then was placed in the respiratory ICU where I had a tracheotomy performed, and I was placed on a ventilator through a trach, and then the next month experienced that and had to work myself off the trach where I could just breathe on oxygen on continuous flow. I spent the month there, and then I was discharged at the end of that month and placed in inpatient rehab facility at Intermountain Healthcare. So I was in inpatient rehab for the next month. So all in all, and I had to relearn how to talk and walk and actually eat because I was on a feeding tube for approximately 2.5 months. So gained a little weight back, learned how to walk, talk, eat. They put me on a cuffless trach where I could speak. I got this out about 2 weeks ago, and then was discharged about a month ago back home to Park City. And things are going pretty well right now. Body's coming around quite good. Still experiencing oxygen. I'm on O2 almost 24/7 a day.
So right now we're doing the GoFundMe to get you an oxygen concentrator so that gives you a little bit more independence. Talk about your oxygen needs right now, how many oxygen tubes you're going through, and what you need them for.
Okay, so at home, I'm on what they call an oxygen concentrator, and Medicare, Medicaid pays for that, but they don't pay for the portable ones. So when I'm home, I'm attached to this machine to provide me oxygen at various different levels. While I'm sitting down, it's a lower level. If I'm up performing activities of daily living, washing dishes, clothes, making a meal, I turn the oxygen up, and I'm attached to this 24/7. When I go out to exercise, however, I can only walk about 2 miles because I'm limited by how much O2 that I have in these tanks. And this one tank will last me about an hour and 15 minutes walking at the most. So I'm very limited anytime I go out in a car or have to go to a therapy session at the hospital or clinic, or anytime I have to do anything, I'm limited by how many tanks that I can bring along safely in the car, because these are very volatile. And I'm going through at least 16 a week, because I work out every day, or I walk every day, and then I have other needs I need to do for daily living. So a portable oxygen concentrator basically makes oxygen out of air, and it runs on batteries, so I never have a threat of running out of oxygen if I'm away from home. It'll also allow me to be able to go back to work. Right now, I'm unable to work because of my oxygen needs. That's what's limiting me to going back to work as a healthcare IT consultant.
So getting an portable oxygen concentrator, and the supplies would change your life.
Yes, it'll give me the independence and be able to handle my daily activities, as well as be able to go into an office or fly. You can't fly with these things. They're too volatile. They'll blow up in air. Or just even go into an office and have a quiet concentrator generating oxygen, as opposed to I would need 6 or 8 of these at the office, which is impractical. Nobody's going to prove that. It's too much danger inside an office.